Hello everyone. Today, I want to share with you an intense story about CEO James and his company facing a huge crisis when wood prices suddenly skyrocket. Major suppliers raise prices and cut off cooperation, putting James's business in serious trouble. To survive, James makes a bold move to stop relying on big suppliers and instead works closely with many small, local wood providers. Although this approach is challenging and costly, it helps keep the company's operations running. At the same time, James improves internal processes to reduce waste and increase efficiency, while expanding new sales markets to diversify income. He also builds strong relationships with government agencies and secures financial support to maintain cash flow. Throughout the crisis, James focuses on keeping his team motivated and united. Thanks to these smart strategies and hard work, James's company manages to stay afloat despite the turbulent market. This story shows how resilience and creative thinking can help businesses overcome even the toughest challenges. If you enjoyed this summary and want to hear more exciting stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. James's company, once one of the leading enterprises in the timber industry, is now facing a serious crisis. In a short time, wood prices have skyrocketed unexpectedly, disrupting all plans for import and production. Moreover, the traditional suppliers, longtime partners, have suddenly stopped cooperating without explanation. This not only causes huge financial losses but also directly threatens the company's reputation and operational sustainability. James, a confident leader who has handled many crises before, now feels uneasy. All the usual import channels are blocked. Industry partners avoid dealing with them or offer unacceptable prices. The supply chain is broken, production schedules are delayed, and the market's trust begins to waver. Even the company's experienced staff cannot understand why everything has suddenly become so difficult. During tense meetings with his associates, James hears shocking rumors. A hidden force is behind the soaring wood prices and the suppliers' boycott of his company. It is said that John, the recently released prisoner, is the one orchestrating this crisis, using his power and underground connections to sabotage James's business. This news surprises many within the company, as John is a mysterious figure whose past and true influence remain largely unknown. John is not merely a competitor. After years in prison, he has returned with a wide network of contacts, from small suppliers to powerful industry figures. There are even rumors that he has ties to secret organizations influential in the timber business. John's comeback has complicated the situation immensely. James realizes that this is not just a normal business competition. It is a power struggle where the rules involve cunning tactics and manipulation behind the scenes. James had many strategies to keep the company afloat in difficult times, but this situation feels far more severe. The near-total blockade on importing wood from major suppliers forces him to consider sourcing from smaller, riskier, and more expensive channels. This not only raises costs but also reduces production efficiency, directly affecting the company's competitiveness. Beyond financial concerns, this crisis severely impacts the morale of employees and partners. Many begin to doubt James's leadership and fear the company might collapse if the situation continues. The pressure on James intensifies, as he must manage internal turmoil while facing a clever and powerful adversary in John. Yet deep inside, James refuses to give up. He knows that to overcome this crisis, he must identify the root cause and defeat the mastermind behind the sabotage. He decides to send his most trusted people to investigate John's network and uncover the source of his strength. James understands that merely reacting without a clear strategy will not save the company. The battle for dominance in the timber market has now evolved beyond product or price competition. It is a strategic war between two factions employing sophisticated tactics. James and his team know that only perseverance and cunning will help them maintain their position, while John and his hidden backers continue to push their plan to destroy the company. The situation grows more intense, but with it, new opportunities begin to emerge. James starts expanding relations with smaller suppliers, rebuilding his distribution network in his own way. He takes advantage of the market chaos to strengthen influence in areas where his rivals have not yet penetrated. Simultaneously, he seeks help from old contacts and influential figures in the industry, hoping to create a combined strength capable of overcoming this challenge. As wood prices continued to soar, CEO James's company faced a severe crisis. Major suppliers simultaneously raised prices, and imported wood became scarce and expensive, causing production and business operations to stall. Profit margins fell sharply, financial pressure mounted, and employees began to worry about the company's future. In this situation, James knew that without a breakthrough solution, the company would struggle to survive. First, James and the leadership team held meetings to reassess the entire supply chain. They needed to identify the real reasons behind the soaring wood prices and figure out how to fix the shortage. Through investigation, James realized that major suppliers were deliberately inflating prices to force smaller companies to give in, creating a monopoly in the market. Therefore, James decided to shift focus to small-scale suppliers, local people, and small to medium-sized businesses in the region. Although sourcing wood from many different places would increase transportation and management costs, this was the only way to maintain a stable supply and keep the production line running without interruption. James understood that sacrificing short-term profits was necessary to sustain long-term operations. He directed the purchasing team to work closely with small suppliers, building a diverse and flexible wood procurement network. At the same time, James focused on optimizing internal operations to minimize unnecessary expenses. He instructed the production department to review all processes, cut wasteful steps, improve work efficiency, and save raw materials. New technologies in machinery were applied to boost productivity and reduce material loss. This not only helped lower costs but also enhanced product quality, creating a competitive advantage in the market. Additionally, James proactively sought new partners both domestically and internationally to diversify sales channels and avoid overdependence on any single market. He expanded export contracts to potential markets while boosting marketing campaigns and customer care programs to maintain and grow sales. Recognizing the complex and volatile wood market, James also decided to establish a specialized market research division to keep the company updated promptly on price trends, supply sources, and consumer behavior. This division's task was also to propose flexible plans to respond to sudden changes. Moreover, James strengthened relationships with government agencies and industry associations to seek legal support and preferential policies. He believed maintaining close ties with relevant parties would give the company additional strength to overcome difficulties. During the tough times, James did not neglect employee morale. He held meetings to listen to concerns, share transparent information about the company's situation, and build consensus and team cohesion. A strong, united workforce was the most valuable resource to help the company get through the crisis. Simultaneously, James prepared financial contingency plans such as securing preferential loans from banks and raising additional capital from strategic investors to ensure sufficient funding to maintain operations during the difficult period. Ensuring cash flow remained uninterrupted was crucial to avoid production halts or losing trust from partners. All these efforts by James and his team began to show positive results. Although the company had not yet returned to previous profit levels, at least operations remained stable, avoiding collapse under market pressure. Wood prices were still high, but the company found ways to adapt and made steady progress toward recovery. James understood this battle would be long and fraught with challenges ahead. But with resilience, innovative management, and sound strategies, he believed the company would overcome the storms and gradually reaffirm its position in the market. When CEO James decided to terminate the contract with John's family company, John's father erupted in a storm of fury. He couldn't believe the decision, as it not only directly affected the family's finances but also dealt a heavy blow to the reputation and power that his family had painstakingly built over the years. John's father had always been a calm, patient man who prioritized keeping his cool in every business decision. But this time, his anger had surpassed all limits. Every conversation with partners, every call from the company, reminded him of James's betrayal, someone he once considered a close partner, even held in high regard. It was not just anger but deep disappointment. He felt betrayed not only in business but in the trust and respect he had given James. In recent days, he had carefully followed James's every move and sensed that James was preparing for an unrelenting battle. In the rising tide of rage, he thought of Diep, someone he knew very well and one of the most important cards in his hand. Diep was not only family but also a key factor that could exert immense psychological pressure on James. He knew that if he wanted James to reconsider, he had to use an uncompromising method, a powerful leverage that would force the opponent to listen. "James, do you think you can just terminate the contract without facing any consequences?" John's father said through the phone, his voice trembling with tension and determination. "If you think this is just the end of a contract, you are gravely mistaken. You are playing with fire, and that fire will burn you before you even realize it." Diep, the name he dropped like a silent threat, a trump card to intimidate James. He knew James would have to rethink his every action after learning that Diep was under his family's control. Diep was not just a person, but a symbol of power, control, and a subtle challenge he wanted to send to his rival. Over the past few days, John's father had quietly devised a plan to keep Diep out of James's sight, using her as leverage for his family. Every move was carefully calculated, from strict surveillance to absolute protection of Diep's safety. He understood that even a small mistake could lose their entire chance for retaliation. More than that, he leveraged his extensive relationships in business and underground circles to pressure James on every front. Secret calls, confidential meetings, intense negotiations took place non-stop to create invisible pressure, forcing James to face many difficult choices. John's father did not only want James to lose in business, but he also wanted him to realize the seriousness of terminating the contract. He wanted James to feel the pain and pressure weighing heavily from his family. Because for him, this was not just a business fight, but a battle to protect the family's honor, pride, and survival. His emotions were a mixture of burning anger and an unyielding spirit. He knew this confrontation could not stop at mere words or normal tough actions. He had to do more, use subtle tactics and sharp schemes to force James to bow his head. "Diep will be my trump card," he thought quietly. "James, this time you will not easily get past my family." Thus, in John's father's heart, a new strategy was formed, not just revenge, but an intense mental and physical battle full of calculation between two sides. Every step was a step forward toward a fierce war, where the winner would not only keep the company but also retain honor and power. He knew this battle would be long, but John's father was ready. He would not let James dominate the game, nor let anyone underestimate his family. Most importantly, he would use Diep as the most important card to force James either to retreat or pay the price with everything. The story of CEO James and his company facing the wood price crisis deeply moved and impressed me. It is not just about business difficulties but also a testament to perseverance, creativity, and an unwavering spirit. James knew how to turn the situation around with smart strategies and decisiveness, while maintaining team unity. This is a valuable lesson for anyone facing challenges in work or life, that with patience and adaptability, we can overcome hardships.